For quite some time, I've been saying I have this goal of running a 100 miler. Yeah, I know it's far, but stay with me. It really is such a big, scary goal and a huge distance to run. I know because I've run a 50 miler in 2020. But the thought of doing it twice is so overwhelming that I haven't really done much about it. I've wanted to cover the distance for over 7 years, and I've even made videos on the topic. I've said I've wanted to run it in October of 2023. Well, this is where it gets a little bit uncomfortable. I've been making a lot of excuses since completing my 50 miler, and October 2023 is only a year away. Over the last 2 years, I really haven't been looking after myself. And since you guys all found my channel, you've all come to know me as the heart rate running guy here on YouTube. I'm actually really embarrassed to say that I haven't been taking my own advice for a while. It's true. The past 2 years of my life, a lot has changed dramatically. I have now partnered with my best friend with our real estate businesses. By the way, it's been the best decision I ever made. My daughter Katie is now off to university. I've been recovering from my own injuries and setbacks. My wife Julie had surgery and is now recovering, and I hope things keep going in the right direction. We got a puppy in February and his name was Pippin. Spent a lot of time with him, making sure he was being walked, trained, hiking, and then slowly running with him. Then at the end of July, at the age of 6 months, we had to put him down due to a brain disease. It just sucks. Yeah, things have been hard, really hard. That's why there's been a little bit of a break on YouTube. I just didn't know what to say or do. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be over dramatic here, talking about my issues. I'm sure lots of you and people around the world have bigger issues than what I'm trying to deal with. And they're just trying to survive and just kind of get through the day. This is a running channel after all. This is where I share my experiences with heart rate training, running tips, vlogging, weight loss topics, and sometimes reviews. I run for many reasons, such as my mental health, weight loss, the stress of the day, a multitude of health benefits. So you might be thinking, yeah, that's all well and good, Dave, but if all those things are that good, why haven't you been running? Well, I guess you could say you could lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So I'm calling myself out. I've thought about this time and time again, and if I had a time machine, guys, I'd go back and I'd kick myself in the ass and say, Dave, get out and run. And some of you have done that, and it's helped. I would love to say, don't start eating when you start feeling stressed or sad. Over time, I could see myself gaining more and more weight, getting out of shape. It just sucks. The feelings of shame and embarrassment and regret would creep into my thoughts. These feelings are real and very annoying, and watching it all happen as I stand by just kind of sucks. It creeps up on you, and before you know it, you're in the dark place that we all know all too well. Now, there are 2 ways that this can play out. One is that I can continue on the path that takes me to the place of heart attacks, strokes, and obesity, or I can become a better version of myself, one that I'm proud to share as a role model for my daughter and to inspire others to do the same. Now, I still want to be able to run longer distances, build a strong aerobic base, lose the weight that I've gained, and run faster at the same heart rate. So to accomplish these things, I need to understand where I was before, where I am now, and how I'm going to get to where I need to go. At my running peak in October of 2020, I was able to run an average pace of 5:48 with an average heart rate of 139. 10 kilometers, 57 minutes, 57 seconds. Today, things look a little different. Average pace, 7:07. Average heart rate, 139. 10 kilometers in 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 9 seconds. Now, anyone looking at the numbers would say, heck, Dave, you've got a lot of work to do. Rise and shine, get out and run. Yeah, I sure do. I know my body, and I know how it responds to training. If I could manage not to eat out, eat the correct foods, and be very disciplined, I'll be able to do it. So there are some goals I need to achieve along the way to the 100 miler, and it begins with a 5K. I want to run a 5K in 25 minutes. May not be much, but I think I can do it. 10 kilometers in 48 minutes, and I think I can achieve that. A half marathon in 1 hour, 50 minutes, very doable. And a marathon in 3 hours and 50 minutes, yes, I can do that as well. Now, I know these running goals may seem a little out of reach at the moment. However, I've been in this situation before and I know what it's going to take to achieve them. Now, I know there's a number of you who are just like me. We all have a starting point. We all have our why. We all have our struggles in our life, but we are all in this together. We are all runners. I want to inspire you to start your next adventure. I truly hope that this helps some of you on your path, on your journeys. Maybe I won't achieve my goals, but either way, I'll be better for it. And I'll be that much closer to achieving them in a second attempt if needed. Over the last month, I have been slowly figuring out my consistency issues, doing my best to ignore the little voice that keeps telling me that it will be just easier not to start. The consistency is always the biggest challenge for me at the beginning. But I may have just beaten back the negative thoughts, as I am about 27 days into my training. I've needed to ignore what my brain thinks that my body can do and get really disciplined about not doing too much too soon. But to be honest, my training really has begun way back in February when I got my dog. I've been out every single day hiking until about a month ago when I started running. That's when Pippin passed. As you all know, I love heart rate, so I'll be using heart rate and perceived effort in my training as I work towards my goals. I'm going to be using the Vertex 2. I used to use the Apex. However, times are changing and a lot of runners such as Sage, Kilian, Kachobi are all using the Kuros products. So I think I'm in good company on that one. And since I want to run a 100-miler, I definitely know that the insane battery life of this watch will certainly do the trick. Because man, this thing's gonna last forever. What I really love about Kuros is that I'm able to build a workout in their training hub and sync it with the watch. So that way I can just get out and do what it tells me to do and not have to think about anything other than, pressing a button. There's lots of other features that I'm gonna be using and I'll point those out along the way. However, the training load is a very cool feature that I like to use to see how my body is responding to the training that I'm doing. Some of the things that I'm struggling right now at the moment are my running form. It's kind of slow, and running slow is harder than you think. My cadence is normally around 180. However, right now I'm down at about 160. That may be due in part to a little part of my run where I go ahead and I walk. It's about 200 meters. Now I know things will change and I will do my best to keep my cadence up, and staying light on my feet will certainly help with that. Using the Maffetone method approach with regards to my heart rate is something that I've been using and will continue to use. However, my number may not truly reflect where maybe I should be running. However, I'll talk about that in another video. A big thing for me is staying healthy, avoiding shin splints, shedding some weight, and building back my aerobic base so that way it is strong. So my current goal is to run about 9 hours a week in my aerobic training zone, which I have been doing for the last number of weeks. It's working slowly. My diet has been changing. I've been eating a lot cleaner and the weight has started to come off. So that's something that I will continue to watch and make sure that it is going in the right direction and I don't start regressing. The first half marathon is in October or November. It just depends on my work schedule. So I may run Toronto, I may run Hamilton, just not too sure yet. However, before I even get to that point, I should see if I can reach my 5K goal first. Then my 10K prior to my half marathon. So look for those videos in the next coming weeks. I hope you guys are gonna follow along on this crazy adventure as I continue to run and train for my 100-miler. If you haven't seen it before, watch my video on my first ever 50-miler I did in October of 2020. Like I always say, get out and run. See you next week.